Okay, Dad, the topic is UFOs.
UFOs. Well, first of all, UFOs, they're real. Well, many of them. Others are just pretended sightings people say they saw. But where they are documented, you have to understand what we're up against. They are a psychological attack upon societies. That's what they are. And they are not what they purport to be. I remember back in graduate school many years ago, my professor was reading in the Akkadian language. And, we're talking somewhere around 1800 BC. And he says, "What is this?" Now, he's translating it for me at that time. I couldn't read it. And he said, "What is that?" And I said, "What do you mean? It sounds like a UFO." He said, "That's exactly what it was." And he laughed. In that day, they were, shape-shifting. They look like one thing, but they're really demonic. They're demons, Demonia. And being angelic, they have powers beyond our capability. So shape-shifting means they can put on an appearance of one thing when the reality is otherwise. So they're a psychological attack upon a society. They're designed to create signs and wonders, to create a new kind of religion, loyalties that stand against the Christian faith. They universally attack Christianity. But they do it much more subtly. They disrupt the thinking patterns of societies. They get people obedient. They even possess. They'll come down and they will possess. They disrupt thinking. For example, they'll take off at some unimaginable speed in the heavens and then make a sharp right turn, defying the laws of physics. We know that no airplane, for example, can do that. Defies physics. But they're not an airplane. They're an entity. They keep that deceit to themselves. Jacques Vallée, I like going back to the roots of a movement. In 1980, he wrote his famous book, what was it, Messengers of Deception? He was talking about UFOs. He was analyzing the psychological attack upon society. He's not necessarily, as far as I know, a Christian in his profession. But he said their strategy is obviously, this is a tactical attack. They will show up physical appearances in the atmosphere. Then next they'll try to make some sort of contact, some sort of psychological manipulation. And then thirdly, they begin to condition us socially to accept a whole new reality to life. And they help produce the New Age movement. They help produce the lively interest in spiritism.
Yep.
A lively interest in a new kind of occult that has moved into disciplines, into economics, into politics, into obviously religion, but psychology. Psychology is loaded with this stuff. The UFO phenomenon is obviously spectacular. So it gets everybody's attention, gets everybody talking. The Demonia, they know that. People in history who were enamored with Demonia. Socrates, for example, gets kudos for being this brilliant philosopher. He wasn't. In fact, he even said he wasn't smart. But he said, these are his words, he did have contact with the spirit world from which he received his information. And therefore he could teach students in Greece. Plato. Now today Plato is spoken of as idealist. He had he had an ideal in heaven and it's supposed to be worked out here in our immature earth. You know what? That's Westerner thinking. That's not what Plato meant. Plato's ideal was to mesmerize with a whole new worldview and to inculcate it spiritistically in the world. You see that in his writings. You see it in the Greek. He definitely believed in, for example, a socialistic form of government, a communistic form of government, heavy centralization, heavily controlled at the top. The universal tendency among UFO phenomenon is to mesmerize us first, get our attention, work on us psychologically, and then condition us into a different kind of reality. Make us start to think differently about the world around, and it's always some form of anti-Christian thought, and especially ethic. And creates a new kind of, like I said, spiritism. So Jacques Vallée is the one actually that said most of what I just said. That was what made his book so powerful. And I cover that in my chapter 11 in the book that we're going to be offering on Satan. I have a whole chapter on it because of its importance. It's a psychological attack. Satan is working on the minds. Being as powerful as he is, he works in the minds and hearts of people. And he wants to displace the Christian ethic and worldview and build, and maybe we can talk about this another time, build what one is called artificial man. Build artificial man and woman. That doesn't mean we become robots and metallic or some silly thing. It means he begins to affect us, like narcissism. Narcissism is a hardness of heart. It's a form of envy. It's a deep form of envy. They resent you being happy, for example. A narcissist wants it his way, but they want to reach out and control and change you. That's artificial. When one person tries to control another, that's artificial. When a power tries to do that, obviously, it is artificial on steroids. UFOs are the latter. And therefore, they work hand in glove with governments. Because governments want that power too. I'm all for sound government, constitutionally framed government. I love our country. I love our Constitution. I love that which is biblical that helped frame our Constitution. We can talk about that too. But the point is, when government goes awry, when it reaches for control, you now have someone pulling strings to manipulate you, and that becomes an artificial construct. And that's what Satan would like. UFOs work well toward that end.